Time to unbox a Sig Sauer SP 2022. I bought this gun a little over 2 years ago, so this isn't an actual first time unboxing. It's more of a re-unboxing just for this video. Alright, well, let's look inside. Just a cardboard box. And the gun will come in a little plastic wrapper thingy. Here's the gun. It does only come with one magazine, which will already be inserted in the gun. Now, this magazine holds 12 rounds and was made in Italy. And as you can already see, this magazine is marked for both 40 Smith & Wesson and 357 SIG. One neat thing about the 40 caliber version of the 2022 is that if you want to start shooting 357 SIG, all you gotta do is change out the barrel to a 357 SIG barrel, and the gun will work with 357 SIG then, as long as you still have the same magazines. I'm not really sure why someone would really want to switch it over to 357 SIG. I mean, I guess there are some diehard fans of the 357 SIG round, but I mean, 40 caliber runs about 30 cents a round average, give or take a little bit here and there. And then the 357 SIG is like $50 a round, so yeah, I can't afford that. So I'm definitely probably not ever gonna change the barrel to 357 SIG, but it's an option if you want it. The sights that came with my SIG 2022 are the 2-dot sights. There are 3-dot sights out there, but I've been shooting the 2-dot sights majority of the time with my other handguns, so I'm just more used to the 2-dot sights. Not saying anything's wrong with 3-dot sights. I just happen to shoot the Beretta M9, which has a 2-dot sight, and also this 2022, which also has a 2-dot sight, a lot more often than the M&P Compact that I have, which has a 3-dot sight. So there's another option out there. You can either get the 3-dot or the 2-dot, whichever one you like. The gun has a Picatinny rail, so if you want to mount lights or lasers on there, then go right ahead. And of course this looks similar to all other SIG models, SIG 226, 229, etc. It's a little bit different, but still the controls are almost virtually the same. See your decocker, slide stop lever. Magazine release, I believe, is able to be switched out from the left to the right side, but I'm a right-hand person, so I'm not going to mess with that. It's a double to single action. First round fired is long and heavy, and then the hammer will be cocked back on the second round, which will be single action with a much lighter trigger pull. One thing to note about the trigger, and this is in single action, you have to pull it almost all the way to the point where it touches the frame of the handgun, almost all the way back. That's just something to be aware of. I don't really mind it too much, but if you don't like that, that's something to think about. So what else is in the box? Well, comes with an extra back strap to change out if you want to. Cable lock, of course. Free grease from that. Oh yeah, NRA grease. And then an instruction manual. I think there was also a NRA membership, $10 off or something, but I think I've sent that in. And there will also be a warranty card that you can send into SIG, but I already sent that off, so I don't have those anymore. So I guess it's about time to show you how to do a field strip of the handgun. First things first, take the magazine out, and then you're going to line up this little cutout with this piece on the slide catch lever, and you're going to then push this little pin through that way. So just like that, take it out, slide comes off, and then take the recoil spring out, barrel just drops right out, and that is all. So I guess that's how the slide looks. And then, yeah, that's how it all basically looks on the inside. And now for reassembly, which is, of course, the exact opposite way of disassembly. One thing to quick note. As you can see, there's a little dimple. Is that the right word? Whatever. But you'll see there's a little hole right here on the barrel, and this little dimple thingy will fit into that when you're putting the handgun back together. And well, here we go. Barrel just drops right in. Recoil spring. And then slide it onto the frame. And before you pull the slide back any further, go ahead and put the slide stop catch lever, set it into the hole. Just make sure it's all lined up, and then pull the slide back until this notch is right over this, and push the slide catch in, and it's back together. Alright, well, so some of my final thoughts on this handgun. I think it was a great deal at the time. It was, yeah, $450 for something that has never really given me a failure. I think I might have had like 2 or 3 light primer strikes throughout the past 2 years, but I've put like 2,000 or 3,000 rounds through it so far, and those couple primer strikes were the only problem I had. When I bought this gun 2 years ago, I was originally looking for something around like the $400 to $450 price range. I was thinking about a Smith & Wesson SBDE or whatever it's called, and I talked to the guy at the counter. He's like, well, those don't really have a good reputation. Here's something else for just like $10 more. And I heard a little bit about the 2022s, and I looked at it and I was like, well, why not? It's a SIG, so I'll give it a try. And it was also the second gun I've ever bought in my life, and the first gun I ever bought, that turned out to be a total failure. So this is the first gun I've had that actually works well for me and has stayed with me. When I first took up the handgun to the range, well, the first actual couple times, I would notice the slide wouldn't be locking back on after the last round is fired, but that's because of the way I naturally want to grip the handgun. And as I already said, this is only the second handgun I ever bought, and wasn't really too familiar with handguns, or any kind of guns for that matter. As you can see, my thumb is resting against the slide release lever, and because of that, once the last round was fired, just the slightest pressure on this would cause the slide not to lock back and then instead go forward. So kind of had to adjust my grip. Instead of having my thumb up here, I had to pull it down here, and it still works. I can manage it. So that's just another thing to be aware of. If your natural grip is kind of like this, you may have a problem with the slide locking back on the last round. Oh yeah, as already mentioned, the 2022 was my second ever gun purchased and second ever handgun I actually ever fired. And the first gun I ever had was a 9mm, but that gun turned out to be a total failure, and I'll mention that later in another video. But yeah, jumping from 9mm to 40 caliber while you're extremely new to firearms, yeah, there's a pretty big difference in recoil. So yeah, just an FYI out there.